All right, back in the studio. What's up, Nick?
What's up, Keith?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for tonight. I always say that every time.
Yeah, we're doing another episode on a. Well, it was gonna be comedians.
Yeah, but we decided that we are such big comedy fans that we're going to start dedicating a full episode every month to a specific comedian.
Yeah, just one comedian.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we were gonna do Sam Kinison and Steve Martin,
Right.
and then I started looking at Steve Martin a little bit, and I was like, I really want to do him his justice.
Mhm.
I want to do the due diligence.
Yeah.
On him.
And on that note, forgive us guys tonight. Like, I didn't do a full episode.
Yeah,
it's
if we would have thought about it more. There's actually a book called Brother Sam.
My brother Sam.
Or, about Sam Kinison.
Yeah, so I've got some good stuff.
Yeah.
I've got some good stuff, but it's.
But from now on, just so you know, we're gonna start doing an episode in a comic once a month.
Yeah. After
And we're gonna like be buying books. In fact, we got one on earlier on Rob Williams.
Yeah,
like
which
a 400-page book.
Yeah, which will be mine next month.
And
a month because you're gonna
2
do,
months.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do. So I am gonna do Steve Martin next month, and I'm gonna get all my research from his book Born Standing Up.
And I love this because you and I are such big stand-up comedian fans. Or we're just comedy.
I want to do it
fans.
right. So this is gonna be more. It's gonna be more in the vein of a true crime corner.
Right.
Where it's like super researched.
Yeah.
If we have to, we'll do 2-parters.
Right. And this one is kind of a starter. Like it's not going to be indicative of like what they're going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good.
I hope everybody enjoyed the last one we did on Bill Hicks and Mitch Hedberg.
I personally love that episode. I love doing that episode.
That was one of my top 3.
And like my big disappointment on that episode was there's just not much out there for Mitch Hedberg. And you were talking about earlier, like maybe I should write something about him.
Maybe you should write a book about him.
So tonight we're going to do
or maybe somebody out there listening should write a book on him.
Yes. And if you've got the love for it and
you got the time.
Yeah. Both Nick and I have full-time jobs, and
I go to school,
and this is a full-time job.
So we've got a lot going on.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna focus on Sam Kinison.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just because I wanted to be able to do a little something. I'm gonna talk about the patron saint of comedians.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that you did that. That's so cool that you thought of doing that. But like Sam Kinison to me, before like we even get started, Sam Kinison was one of those. I keep clicking my pen because I'm like, oh my god,
stop doing that, man.
I'm excited. But like Sam Kinison to me was like one of these comedians that was like, you look at it and you're like, oh shit, this can be comedy too.
Well, I was watching Rogan earlier and he was talking about Kinison a little bit. There was one old Boston comic who was friends with Kinison. He told a couple crazy Sam Kinison stories, especially about the drug use and everything.
Oh, dude, talk about a partier, dude.
Dude, there was also a little bit of a story. I'll what the hell we're talking about Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
I'll get it beforehand. But apparently like he was like he went to his friend and he was just like, or his friend was saying like, he's like he apparently went to a strip club and he told these strippers like, hey, do you want to make more money tonight than you'll make in a month? So he got like 6-7 strippers come back to the hotel and he went to his friend and he's like, dude, you don't want any part of this. Like, you're married.
Oh.
And if you're involved in this, like you can never go back. Like, this will change your life type shit. Like, you don't want it part of this. So he leaves and he's like, okay. And he comes in the next morning to this hotel room and he's like, there's blood everywhere. Like, it's like everything's broken. Like, the place is just a disaster. He's like, I've never seen like it since. Anything like it since. And it's just like, and then he's like, there was like a couple people in there or something. Like, and he was just like, he never found out what happened. But these people just looked like they had gone through hell.
Right.
And that was Sam Kinison. Like, there's stories about him like doing blow and.
Dude,
another story he had was about how like it was like a bunch of football players wanted to meet him, and so they like brought him a little baggie of coke, and he's like, oh yeah, we want to do some coke with you, and he's just like, that's not it. And he's like, that's fucking shit. Or no, what he did was what they did was they put a little bit of this baggie on a table. And Sam Kinison just walked up and just blew it away. And he just gets this huge fucking bag of coke and just lays it out and does this huge line. And he's like, all right, like, you pussies are going to finish the rest of this now.
You pussies are going to finish the rest of it. You pussies are going to finish the rest of it.
That's how much coke he would do, though.
Dude, I know.
Apparently, Mark Maron was a door guy at the Comedy Store. And, everyone knows who Mark Maron is now. A huge, a comedian, a very well-known podcaster.
He even actually interviewed Barack Obama.
Yeah. And he's on the show, what is that?
Mark Maron.
The Glow, which I love.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he apparently he used to do a bunch of coke with Sam Kinison, and And he did it for
That
like
literally
a year.
makes me go.
Yeah, he hung out with him for like a year, and apparently like Mark Maron said he started hearing voices.
I believe it.
And he actually had to move away and get clean, and he had to re-examine his life because he
Hanging out
so
with Sam
hard.
Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
What did I say? Sorry.
Hanging out with Sam Kinison, it fucked him up so much that he had to do that.
Well,
Because Sam Kinison, like, not really. Most people cannot.
you couldn't hang, dude. You couldn't hang.
He was a rock star comic, though.
Well, like
definitely.
the one story that I saw that I thought was really cool. Like it was actually one of his stories where he's talking about like it's after a show.
I probably should have brought these up after you talked about him. But
It's all good. It's all good. But it's after a show and they're all partying and hanging, and they're like, we're out of alcohol.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, okay.
Oh, I heard this one.
Yeah, he's like, we're out of alcohol. It's like, well, it was in Salt Lake City, so like everything, I'm gonna have to drive for like 2 hours to get alcohol and come back.
Yeah.
Kinison is like, I've got a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order 2 limos and make sure they're fully stocked.
Yeah.
And when they get here, like I forget, I can't give his exact delivery. Nobody could.
Yeah.
But like when the limo showed up, he's like, "We just want your booze. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We just want your booze." So
That's pretty smart, though. Man.
yeah. So like Sam Kinison is one of those characters.
He was a professional partier, definitely.
Yes, exactly. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with a clip. Start off with a clip of the actual sermon of Sam Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
Working
Why do I
today.
keep saying that?
Brace yourselves. I'm not kidding. Please welcome Sam Kinison.
There's still time to call the church and call all this off. I know a lot of you come here, you watch TV, you wait every night for somebody to come on here and give you an answer for your lives, waiting for someone that'll come and say, hey, this is it. I don't have to settle for defeat anymore. I can rise up out of my routine. I can get a hold of myself. I don't have to lose. I can win. There's something inside me that's not going to let me go down anymore. But I'm not the guy. No, I don't have any answers for you. But I can tell you about one thing. Oh, yeah, you think you're safe, huh? You people over here, you think you're safe? Do you think you're safe?
And I love Sam Kinison's fucking delivery. Like, I'm going to get into a little bit about that, actually.
Oh, he had amazing delivery, man.
Yeah, that piece right there. But just to start off with, Sam Kinison was born in Yakima, Washington.
Yakima.
I
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Yakima.
Yakima, Washington, December 8th, 1953. Which is, like, there's not a lot of comedians that really came out of that area. Actually, I looked into that.
No.
It's kind of...
You think of any great Washington comics?
Exactly, exactly. His parents were Mary Florence.
Watch, there probably is like one that like.
They're gonna be like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
But his mother was Mary Florence, and his dad was Samuel Senior Kinison. But the thing is his dad was a Pentecostal preacher.
Yeah.
So like you have, and Kinison didn't start off this way. Like he didn't,
I always thought Kinison was from the South, honestly.
well, he would kind of,
Because you think Pentecostal preacher, like fire and brimstone type guy, you think of the South.
Yeah. Well, I actually have that exact phrase written down, fire and brimstone.
Mm.
But at the age of 3 months old, they moved to Peoria, Illinois, and that's kind of where his dad starts to actually, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank. He starts preaching at a bunch of churches all over. He becomes an evangelist.
Oh, okay.
Like he's like all over the country, like doing like, oh, and the Lord is gonna come down. Like,
Oh, hallelujah.
yeah, hallelujah. You're like the Lord has healed. Like
Praise Jesus.
Yeah, so that was a lot of his upbringing, and like I personally kind of grew up in that type of environment, and then you rebel.
Yeah.
And, like, so you.
I never really rebelled. It was more like, I don't want to fucking go to church, Mom. Like, stop making me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. But, like, and myself in particular, I grew up in it with a Irish preacher grandfather.
Yeah.
And, like, my dad could tell you stories for days.
Oh, I know.
It's like, oh, my God. But, like, when that's crammed down your throat, That's dude. You get the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but like I said, his dad pastored a bunch of churches, and he had actually He had three brothers. Two were older, two were younger.
Okay.
So out of the four brothers, it went Richard, Bill, Sam, Kevin.
Okay.
That was the age. Yeah. So think about having four little boys. Like having like the different age ranges. Just, dude, are you fucking kidding me? It was like Sam always looked up to Bill, which was like he was actually younger than him, which is kind of interesting. He kind of always looked up.
I'm saying Jesus.
Jesus.
But how did? But I wonder how like their mom fucking dealt with that shit.
Well,
you were raising four boys and it had like a fucking fire and brimstone preacher for a husband.
Exactly. That moved.
Well, also being the kids. Gee,
that moved around.
Jesus.
that moved around the country all the time.
Yeah.
Like literally moved around the country all the time because he was an evangelist.
Yeah.
Like he would do like the tent shit. So like that's
the revival shows.
Yeah, and that's where you get a weird upbringing, dude.
Yeah,
you get a weird upbringing there. So at the age of 3 years old, Sam was actually hit by a truck.
Oh shit!
And the thing is, he had a huge head trauma, and his entire family said it changed his personality.
I've heard this story before. Actually, Rogan has told it.
Yeah,
about how he was after he got hit by a car. I didn't know he was 3.
Yeah, 3 years old.
But after he got hit by a car, his personality completely changed, and he had no fear.
Yeah, exactly. He was just like whatever. Dude.
But you hear those stories, like I remember I was listening to Rogan, and Dave Foley was on, and he talked about how he got all of a sudden gotten head trauma. Like
they call it CTE.
He got hit by a car or something.
Yeah,
it's
called
CTE.
CTE.
And he used to suffer from depression. Actually, CTE is something completely different.
Well, I've got some on that.
It's something like football players get.
Yeah.
But actually can lead you to suicide.
Oh yeah, well,
it's from repeated hits to the head.
Chris Benoit was
yeah.
I'm not going to.
But anyway, but yeah, Dave Foley he had head trauma and he had lifelong depression.
Yeah,
and he had that happen to him, head trauma, and it completely got rid of his depression.
That's crazy, right?
It's weird. I'm not going to say right now. We do not we do not support the fact that do not go out and get a head injury so you can cure something.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't work that way.
I personally myself had severe head trauma when I was about 7. You know those metal like horse swings that you push back and forth.
Yeah.
And I fucking got hit in the head so hard it fucking threw me back in the air. I went vertical.
Shit.
Yeah.
I got hit by a tire swing when I was 2 or 3 years old.
Well, I've noticed.
I still have that scar to this day above my eye.
I do too over here.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, I noticed with me, it actually, I have an anxiety issue, which I didn't have before that. But whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
But yeah, we just wanted to bring up that point.
Yeah, head trauma. Fuck head trauma. So the next thing is,
unless it helps you, like Kinison,
right? It created a career. But so into his teenage years, he started acting out. At the age of 16, he stole a fucking Mustang with his brothers. He stole a fucking. Talk about. Okay.
He was a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah,
man.
dude. He did not have, like you said, no fear.
He had no fear.
No fear.
None.
He stole a Mustang, went on a joyride, got in a bunch of trouble, and he got caught. And his dad's like, you know what? You're going to fucking Bible school.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're going to Bible school. You're going to be a preacher. And he sent him to this is how it's spelled. P-I-N-C-R-E-S-T. Pencrest?
Let me see it.
P-I-N-C-R-E-S-T.
I just gotta be able to read it. Give me a sec.
P-I-N-C-R-E-S-T.
Where's it at exactly? Oh. Pinecrest or Pencrest.
Pencrest, yeah. So he went to Pencrest Bible Training Center.
Sorry, I'm not. I need to see it.
You need to be able to see it, yeah.
Yeah, if I try to spell it out,
so he went to Pencrest Bible Training Center in Yakima. Not Yakima. That's where
he was born.
It was in New York.
Okay.
So he actually graduated from that, and actually was a fire and brimstone preacher.
How old was he by then?
17.
Oh shit.
He from the age of 17 to 24, he was an evangelist preacher.
So he wasn't did he get a traditional did he get a high school education or?
Well, he would have to have, but he sent him. I'm sure that.
So it was Bible. It was kind of Bible school on top of regular school. He probably went to a Christian. Well, he went to a Christian school. You said pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that school taught both.
Yeah.
I'm sure that school taught both, and this is okay. This is where you have to. This is where you have to go with your education.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I think I'm putting the picture together.
Right.
I like to do that.
So like the big thing is I want to get into the Fire and Brimstone because that's actually what translated into his style. You know, like the opening clip that I played, like that was his first actual appearance on David Letterman.
Yeah.
So like that was his first time on TV. He came out and said, "Oh, and you know, you know what I'm saying?" Like,
is it kind of unrelated, but somewhat related? Is he was going to be on the Today Show, and I guess his mom was there, and he's with the same comedian friend, and yeah, he's supposed to go on that day, and he was just like, apparently he was just like really nervous, or he didn't want to do it. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm like, I don't want to get up and go and do this," and so they turned on the TV. And it was the day that the Challenger exploded.
oh shit.
Yeah, and he was actually making.
Shit.
What's fucked up is he was making jokes about it like later that day.
Oh, that's Sam Kinison.
Yeah,
That's Sam Kinison.
but yeah, I'm just gonna have to point that out.
Well, the next thing I want to get into is because of like the evangelical style. He developed his like iconic scream that everybody knows about. Oh.
Yeah.
Like that's like I remember that video we
Oh, I
watched
know.
earlier. Like that, there's nobody else out there that could be that intense.
Oh, totally.
There's no other stand-up comedian that could be like telling a joke and then just start screaming, and it's just like oh. So, but what I really, this is one of the things I'm really happy to get into because of our last comedian episode. Like he started really doing his circuit in Houston, Texas, in small like little clubs and
So
stuff.
wait,
like
he was
that.
he was a preacher until he was 24.
Yeah.
And then why did he go to comedy?
He actually was reading a conversation that he wrote down with him and his dad. He's like, "This isn't me.
Okay.
This isn't me. Like this is I'm fucking Sam Kinison, basically, is what it was." So I thought that was pretty interesting that, like, his dad was basically pushing him to go on the path that he was on.
Okay.
And Sam was like, "No, this isn't me."
Ah.
So I got, to preface this everything, I got most of my material tonight from the biography website for Sam Kinison.
So it was around like maybe 24, 25. He started.
25 was the very first time that he did like a stand-up show.
Okay.
So because I think it was a Houston club. I forget. I didn't write
So
it down.
he moved to Texas by then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't write it down. It was like a Houston club that he like did his first like open mic, and that's actually where he met Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
I just heard the name of that comedy club earlier too.
I can't think of what it was. I can't think of what it was.
Yeah.
But he met Bill Hicks and then joined the Texas Outlaw Comics with Bill Hicks, Ron Shack, Riley Barbara. There's like 20 of them. I literally just wrote down etc. because there's so
Yeah, they were known as the Outlaws.
The Outlaw,
Texas Outlaws.
The Texas Outlaw Comics.
Yeah.
So like Bill Hicks, he made a huge impact on Hicks.
Yeah, well, he's the one who pretty much influenced Hicks' style.
Yeah,
That brash, like no holds barred, no fear style.
Right.
He totally got that from Sam Kinison.
Right. Well, and then to quote Hicks, he was the first guy I ever saw to go on stage and not in any way ask the audience to like him.
Yeah. No, and there was this story about how they met. If I'm gonna might butcher this story a little bit, but the way they met was Sam Kinison like jumped off a banister or something, and he had a pair of panties on his head, and he introduced himself to Bill Hicks at that point.
He's like, "Hey,"
and those two became really good friends.
He's like, "Hey, I'm Sam."
Yeah, pretty much that's what happened.
I believe it. Dude.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen any Sam Kinison stand up, that makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah.
Like
I do remember the part about him having panties on his head though.
I'm gonna bet. At the end of the segment, I'm gonna play the one thing they were like.
Oh yeah.
But so like they did stand up comedy together in that crew for about 3 years, and then 1980, Kinison moved to L.A. and actually became a doorman at the Comedy Store.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, actually, Bill Hicks and Sam Kinison, they had a little bit of a falling out at one point.
I didn't see anything about that. That sucks.
I know they kind of did. If you go back to to Bill Hicks one, I know they did stop talking for whatever reason.
That sucks.
And I'm not sure if they ever became friends again, but they might have.
Yeah. Well, it's just so cool that those two iconic people were friends.
Oh yeah.
That's
and
really cool.
Friends before they were big.
Exactly. Oh, and you know how much I love Kinison, and I know how much you love Hicks. And it's just so cool. Like when I like saw this like quotage, just like, "Oh, I can't wait to show this to Nick." I was like, "Oh, he probably already knows." Like, what would be your favorite this is like kind of off topic. Not off topic, but your favorite. What got you into enjoying stand-up comedians? That's a hard question, right?
I really couldn't say.
Yeah, for me, it was watching Robin Williams.
Yeah.
But
that might be one for me too.
Yeah. Just watching his just so being crazy. And then you look at like Kinison when he was on Married with Children, and like he played a ghost on Married with Children, which is kind of
That's right. I forgot he was on Married with Children.
Yeah.
All right, get into that later.
Yeah. Sorry. So he was a doorman at the Comedy Store for about 3 years. He was.
You got to figure some of those guys, like I talked about Mark Maron. Like I wonder if they were. I don't know if they were dormant at the same time. They might have been, or maybe like Kinison just saw him and just became friends. I don't know the exact. This is just a story I heard when I talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know the dates or anything like that, but it seems like guys that they start out as doormen just to kind of get their foot. I mean, it's a little bit pun, but to get their foot in the door.
Aubrey Marcus was the doorman.
Really?
Yeah, that's we all
they're paying their dues. Pretty much
exactly. Well, you have to be there, and you have, like you said, put in your dues. You have to be there
or pay your dues.
It's like Rogan always says, it's like sharpening a sword. And like every single.
They probably would work, and they're like, okay, they get paid, but they at the same time they probably had some deal worked out with like the manager was like, hey, like I'm really doing this because I want to get I want to do
an open mic.
No, it'd be like, no, can I get like 5 minutes before like a bigger comic?
Exactly.
They probably had something like that worked out.
And that's so awesome to think about.
I actually, that's one thing I do want to do one day is an episode on the Comedy Store.
Fuck yeah, good dude.
Yeah, I do want to do an episode like and separate from comics, but just
the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
we'd have to talk about Pauly Shore and I forget
Mitzi
Shore. Yeah,
yeah. Is that her? I always hear Mitzi.
I think it's Mitzi.
She's still. I think she died.
I don't know.
But that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'd have to.
We'll have to do an episode of that. It was separate from comics.
Yeah, just the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
it's simply like I love the fact that you and I are both such comedy fans.
Yeah. And we've talked about doing a show just about comedians, but we just don't have the time.
We have so many shows in the works, and it's just oh my god.
Yeah.
But I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
So in 1983, his brother became his manager, which kind of like opened the door. Like he finally had a manager.
Yeah.
Finally had somebody like setting up shows for him. Because before in the past, all he was doing is like showing up at a venue and like, can I do a set? Can I do a spot? And so he started doing shows at the Comedy Store, and Rodney Dangerfield noticed him.
Yeah.
Dude, for Rodney Dangerfield to notice you, that's a big deal, dude. Because he's
and in the future, we are going to do an episode of Rodney Dangerfield.
Fuck yeah. So in 1984,
I wonder if he was wearing pants when he met him.
I would hope, man.
I never knew about that until today. About how he didn't like to wear pants. Like he'd be around guys and like
his Dangerfield would hang out all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, but
that's good. Did you make that up?
Just right now.
Oh, nice, dude. That was good.
So Dangerfield gave him his first big break on Rodney Dangerfield's 9th annual Young Comedians special.
Yeah.
So that
on HBO.
On HBO, and that's where the first time that all of America got to see Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
And so that's where he starts like getting his steam.
Well, that's where Bill Hicks, like he was kind of down in the dumps. Like, I mean,
was Hicks on that show?
Yeah, he was still performing, and in fact, that was kind of the break that he needed to get back.
Okay.
Because I think he quit drugs by then, but that was the break he needed to like kind of get back into being like a known comic to the rest of the country. Yeah. And Rodney Dangerfield did that for him.
Hicks was like, we talked about this before, but I really liked how intellectual Hicks was.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And Rodney.
We got ourselves a Rita.
Oh, we got ourselves a Rita. And
what you reading for? Sounded him a fucking Waffle House waitress.
Sorry. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But
this is what I like about doing the comedian episodes. We need to make jokes or tell their jokes.
We just love this shit, dude.
Yeah, dude.
So that is a springboard for Kinison to be on Letterman for the first time.
Yeah.
Which was the audio I played at the beginning of the show. That was the very first time Kinison.
Well, Letterman, like I mentioned that I'm going to bring up the Hicks episode again, but that was where Hicks got his first time because and Leno was actually the one who got Hicks onto Letterman.
Was it?
They say he kind of engineered it, but that was the one thing is if you were more of an edgy, brash comic, you went to Letterman.
Oh,
if you were more like kind of family friendly, like type,
you go to Leno. But if you're funny, you go to Letterman.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. We got no love for Jay Leno on this show.
No, we don't.
He gets no respect.
He
No
gets
respect.
No respect. Oh my God. All right.
But there's a reason for that.
How many times have we done Rodney Dangerfield impressions tonight? But okay, so
I think it was like the second time.
it was actually like the fourth time for me. So just like keeping the ball rolling.
Yeah.
This is where Kinison gets his like big TV like circuit.
Yeah.
He starts doing all the shows. Starts doing like this.
When you talk about being an evangelist, now he's
a comedy evangelist.
He's a televangelist now.
Right. And the thing about Kinison is his jokes are so like not run of the mill.
No.
I'm gonna at
He
the
did
end.
such that's one thing about the 80s at that time, especially with the Texas comics, is they did stuff that they did jokes no one had heard before.
Right. Well,
In a
they
style no one had ever seen before.
redefine
Both of them.
Yeah, redefine being a comedian.
Completely redefined comedy.
Yeah, like it's like Rogan said. Like I watched a clip on Kinison about Rogan.
Yeah.
Or Rogan about Kinison.
Yeah.
And he was like, the first time somebody exposed him to Kinison, it was like a girl reenacting one of his jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this can be comedy too? Oh, actually, it's the, like you're dead and life keeps fucking you. I'm going to play that later.
Yeah. That's going to be our outro to this one.
Yeah. So, like, this is where he starts getting his just climb to popularity.
Yeah.
This is where he starts getting money. This is where he starts developing a coke problem. And, like, this, like, he's...
I wouldn't even call it a problem. I'm
I'm
trying to think of a bigger word than a problem.
It's a coke lifestyle.
Yeah, he had a coke lifestyle because he did so much coke.
Like, he was... Dude,
At least he never got into heroin.
Oh, thank God, dude. We would have lost him a lot earlier.
Probably.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't...
Well, he didn't even die of coke, though.
You know, it wasn't even his fault, his passing. I'm going to get to that.
He probably would have eventually, though.
Yeah.
The way he lived.
So at this point, he starts selling out shows.
Yeah.
Just fucking selling out shows, like arenas. Selling out fucking like 5,000 seat arenas.
Yeah.
Just to see Sam Kinison, the guy in the trench coat and the flat cap. You know, like that was fucking amazing. You know, like it was. This was.
And you have good nights and bad nights too.
Well, he would bomb.
Yeah.
He would bomb a lot.
But he wouldn't give a shit either.
Because he didn't fucking care.
No.
He didn't fucking care.
He's like, I got your money, so fuck off.
I already got your money.
Yeah.
So he actually gets married 3 fucking times.
Really?
He gets married 3 fucking times.
He was not a very good looking guy.
And
either.
I actually wrote down my favorite joke about him getting married. So this is after his second marriage. This was like one of my favorite jokes. Because like when I saw it the very first time, they actually had a guy on stage that did a rim shot. Says, if I ever get married again, I want a guy with drums to do a rim shot during the vows. That's pretty.
Well, I like
fun.
how he did. Like he showed me a video earlier where he he went up into the audience and he's like, "Oh, do you ever want to get married?" He's like, "Yeah, I mean, one day."
Look
It's
at
like
this face.
He's like, "Look at this face," and then he just starts like, and he's like, "Just imagine that next time you think about getting married."
Hey, remember this
every
face.
day.
Remember this face.
Which I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there be like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next favorite joke I wrote down about him goes to my next topic. I was actually thinking about this. So my next favorite joke from him is, there's no happy ending to cocaine. You either die, go to jail, or run out.
Oh.
So
I'm curious how much I honestly wonder how much money a day he was spending on coke.
Dude, who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? But cocaine was a huge... We can't talk about Sam Kinison without really getting into his life, without bringing this topic up.
Yeah.
We just can't.
Yeah.
So cocaine was a huge problem for him. It was his life. He actually went to jail almost 13 times in the late 80s. Yeah, just for possession.
Do you think he's more known maybe now for being a partier than he was a comedian?
I was exposed to him when I was about 10 years old.
Yeah.
Because of his extremeness.
Yeah, that's what. Well, that's what. When you think of Sam Kinison, you think of like the screaming and being crazy and and just
we have to
being
play
nuts.
we have to play his scream before we have to do that. Like at some point in the show.
Well,
we
I'm
have to play
sure
his
that
scream.
I'm sure it's some you play some joke and he'll be screaming in it.
So he did,
Because he was always known for just the timing and like his
and
delivery.
he would start telling a joke and he would start getting louder. Yeah. But so he went to jail several times and his career started to drop off because he was in jail. He just wasn't doing shows. And then his big comeback was Rodney Dangerfield personally gave him a role in the movie Back to School.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he played Dr. Turgeson.
Okay.
I've only seen the movie like once.
Uh,
He was that was like his getting back into the field. Like
yeah, that wasn't Rodney Dangerfield actually started acting. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think actually Dangerfield's first movie was Caddyshack.
It was, yeah.
And that was like, what, mid 80s?
Yeah. In no respect.
Even
sorry,
though he'd
I did
been
it
doing
again.
comedy since like what, like the 60s maybe?
I think the 50s.
Yeah.
I think. But when we do the Dangerfield episode,
He didn't do much acting though.
no. Well, it's like the only movie.
It was
Like,
the only movie he starred.
Back
in.
to School is like the only one I can.
The
think
only
of.
two movies I can think
But
of
he was
was
old.
Back to School and Caddyshack.
And he was old and Back to School.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I only have memories.
Those eyes. Oh, and he did that movie, that animated movie, Rover Dangerfield. Yeah.
Good times.
And actually, I think the dog had the same eyes he did. It was
Oh,
a
my
little
God.
crazy, like wide-eyed. Thing. Anyway, continue.
Well,
continue.
Back to School is a fun movie though.
Yeah, we're not doing an episode on Dangerfield.
Not yet.
Not
anyway.
yet. Not yet.
So Kinison like started building steam back up, like
Mm.
doing shows again. So he actually decided to record a rock album.
That makes sense.
Did you know that he was an accomplished guitar player?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he was a legit guitar player.
Huh.
Yeah, like he was his big thing was hair metal.
Oh, that makes sense actually.
He was big into hair metal. So he
I can
recorded.
totally see him opening up for like Motley Crue.
So he recorded an album called "Have You Seen Me Lately." On the album itself, it had Rodney Dangerfield,
Yeah.
Bon Jovi, the entirety of Aerosmith,
Damn.
Slash, and Tommy Lee.
Damn.
Just on the album itself.
And this is all music.
Yeah, it was just a fucking rock album.
What was he doing? Just singing?
He was playing the guitar.
He was just playing guitar.
Yeah. And how cool is that, dude?
That's pretty dope.
How
I didn't know
cool-
that about him.
Yeah, how cool is that? Like he literally put out a rock album to where fucking Tommy Lee was playing his drums. Dude, like
People don't give. I mean, they kind of do, but Tommy Lee
dude,
is one of those drummers that like you hear about. And
Tommy
you
Lee's
only think
legit.
about him like you only a lot of times most people only think they hear Tommy Lee. They think, oh, him and Pam Anderson. It's like,
dude, you
or
got
Motley Crue. It's like
you got to give his talent some fucking
Yeah.
respect. He used to play drums upside down
Oh, yeah.
in a metal cage.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Dude, come
Man,
on.
he's a badass.
Yeah, dude. Like I like I'm a Motley Crue fan.
Yeah.
Period.
Maybe that's one we should do. Like you talked about doing an episode about bands.
Well, Motley Crue is going to be on my metal episode.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
You might have to.
We'll tease
You
it.
might
We'll
have
tease
to
it.
read the dirt.
Well, I've seen the dirt too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that a little bit
Yeah,
later.
okay,
Actually,
okay.
We're gonna talk about that later.
So, after his rock album came out, he like gained popularity again. Him and Howard Stern got in a fight. Yeah, like because he would routinely call into Howard Stern and talk shit to him, but Howard Stern
That's
would,
fine with me. Howard Stern's just always been like kind of like, eh.
well, like the big one is that Bobcat Goldthwait was on.
Well, he's a shock jock. That's all he is. Like Howard Stern to me has just never really impressed me that
Right,
much.
right? Because we're not.
I know.
shock
I know. I'm talking a little bit of shit about Howard Stern, but
jocks. Yeah, but
I feel like there's 100 other guys could really do what he does.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, the big thing was Bobcat Goldthwait was on.
I think Bobcat Goldthwait would be a better host than Howard Stern.
Fuck yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm talking shit about Howard Stern. That's happening.
Well, let me finish the story real quick. Bobcat Goldthwait was on Howard Stern. Sam Kinison calls in and starts talking shit to fucking Bobcat Goldthwait, which the two of them are friends though.
Okay.
So like Bobcat Goldthwait and
Oh, by the way, Bobcat is a great director.
he's fucking awesome.
He's a really good director.
Did you know he does he did a Bigfoot documentary?
I think I heard that.
Yeah, yeah.
He did a really good movie with Robin Williams too.
Yeah,
Called like Father of the Year, I think.
yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
But there was this whole fucking thing back and forth between Howard Stern and Sam Kinison.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up making up, and I feel like it was like a publicity thing.
Oh, probably.
like-
that wasn't the time Howard Stern was kind of really making his mark.
Yeah,
too.
like in the reading, it felt like it was like publicity.
Yeah.
So after that, Bon Jovi asked Kinison to be in one of his music videos, where where Kinison actually ends up on the album playing the guitar for the
Yeah,
song.
I think I remember
It's
that.
called Bad Medicine.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing him on that a little bit.
Yeah, like he basically Bon Jovi because they were homeboys.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Why don't you come play guitar? Come play guitar on this, dude."
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Stevie Ray Vaughan on a Bowie album,
Yeah.
and he played guitar on Let's Dance.
Yeah. So then in 1992, Sam meets a girl named Michaela, and they get married, and they end up going. They court and whatever, and like, oh, let's get married.
Yeah.
So they end up getting married, and they go to Hawaii. 6 days after their honeymoon, Sam is. I have this written out.
Just go through it, dude.
Like, so 6 days after their honeymoon, Sam is back. He's on his way to a sold-out show in Loftington, Nevada, on Route 95, and at that point, he's in Needles, California. His car was struck head-on by a truck driven by a 17-year-old Tony Pearson who had been drinking.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, like, Sam was on his way to a sold-out show in Nevada. Like, just got married. 6 days, been married for 6 days.
Yeah.
And, like, dude, come on. That's heavy, dude. That's heavy.
Yeah.
But, like, he didn't die instantaneously. Oh, spoiler alert, he passes. But his brother shows up at the scene, finds him in a car. They get into a van, and they're driving. And his brother's holding his hand. And Sam's final words is, "I don't want to die." But so he passes. Sadly, he passes.
He didn't even get an ambulance?
No, they took him in a van because it was there already. Like, the van was there already. And like, let's go.
Let's go to the hospital.
Yeah. So, but in 1992.
Well, what did he die from exactly?
Blunt force trauma.
So he was just kind of bleeding out in his car too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, let me look at the exact date here.
I'm sure he was still doing a lot of drugs too at that point.
Oh, I'm
wasn't he?
sure that had a little bit to do with it. Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, no, but it was a truck driver that hit him. It wasn't.
No, it was a kid driving a truck.
Yeah.
So he was buried August 10th, 1992 in Memorial Park, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's my abridged.
Dude, this is really weird. I'm going to say this right now, but I'm doing the patron saint of comedy in the next segment. He actually died on August 10th.
That's fucking crazy.
That's fucking insane, dude. Like you said, August 10th. I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, August 10th was the day he died, and that's actually the feast day of the saint I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. So
that's fucking crazy, though.
That's
a hell of a coincidence, dude.
That's my outpouring of
and the fact that Kinison was a preacher.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's my outpouring of respect to who Kinison was. I hope you guys enjoyed what I put together.
That was great, man.
Yeah, like that's there's never will be another comedian like him.
No.
And that's some Sam Kinison.
Damn, dude. You kind of well, I actually feel a little brought down now. Like after you said I will let Talk Man and die.
Huh? Well, I didn't.
You know, though, it's like that just tells me how good a story you kind of told me.
Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I remember being like 10 years old and seeing him like doing his routines, like oh. So and finishing up the story of Sam Kinison, I really love that you guys listened to this, and
I hope you enjoyed it. By the way, I hope everyone out there enjoyed it.
He was one of those comics that I really grew up with. So I wanted to. This is one of my favorite sets from him.
Yeah,
and I hope you guys enjoy. Here we go.
I read the paper. They said that a group of homosexual necrophiliacs have been going around to mortuaries offering them money to let them come in at night and spend a couple hours undisturbed with the freshest male corpse. I wasn't trying to sell this as a fucking home game, all right? It's a story I read, folks. Jesus Christ, give me a chance to do some journalistic reporting here, will ya? I felt the same way. I read this thing and went, thanks for the visual! Hey, I felt sorry for these corpses, man. I mean, you think death would be bad enough, wouldn't you? I mean, the one thing that scares the shit out of everybody is death. You don't want to think about it. You don't joke about it. You put it out of your mind. But you figure if you faced it, that's it. What could be worse than fucking death? You figure I got past death. I mean, you hated it, but at least you lived through it, you know? You got by it and all that shit. I felt sorry for these corpses because I know these guys were laying out on slabs. They're in there going, well, life was tough and that was pretty hard to live up to. And I faced death and I'm glad I went through it. And Well, now I'm ready to spend eternity in heaven, be with Jesus, and Rock of Ages. Hey, what's this shit? Oh, I don't believe this. There's a guy's dick in my ass. Oh, you mean life keeps fucking you in the ass even after you're dead? Oh, it never ends. It never ends.
And thank you guys. That was some
Jesus,
Sam Kinison. Jesus.
Jesus.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
See, you didn't even, I told you it would come up at some point.
What's that? This is a dick in my ass.
Dick in my ass.
All right, brother. So do you want to do this day in history?
Oh, do you want to do that first, or what you watching?
Oh, we can do either one.
We always do what you watching first.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
Start?
The only thing I really got this week, I watched a little bit of Black Lightning today, but
Black Lightning's good.
It was more in the background just because I was doing some research. But then the only other thing I really watched was I watched a little bit of a Bond movie, which I didn't even finish. It had Christopher Walken in it as villain.
Yeah. Which one was that?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
Those dude, I've been watching so many James Bond movies lately. They just kind of blend together. And then the other one I watched, and since we kind of alluded that we were going to talk about this, was I watched The Dirt.
Oh, dude.
About Motley Crue.
I loved that because I'm a Motley Crue
I was talking
fan.
to one girl I work with because I was like, oh, I really loved it, and then she was like, I had to turn it off halfway through, it was so fucking stupid.
Well, it's because she's not a fan of the
And
band.
also another complaint I heard was they kind of they make these guys out to just be victims, or they're all good guys, and
yeah, they were not.
they were not. I mean, Vince Neil killed a guy.
Yeah.
He only spent 19 days in jail.
Yeah.
I always remember that from Airheads. Movie Airheads, which is a totally underrated classic.
Dude, love
Steve
me some Airheads.
Buscemi, Brendan Fraser,
What was it?
Adam Sandler.
What was the name of
Lemmy was in it.
What was the name of their band in that movie?
The Lone Rangers.
You just made me think of something so funny. I was actually thinking about Lemmy today because I was thinking about the history of metal.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about Airheads, and
yeah.
they're like, who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God? Trick question. Lemmy is God.
Yeah. It's Lemmy, God.
Trick question.
Lemmy is God. Yeah.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
But where was I going with this? You cut me off, man.
I derailed you.
You totally derailed me.
We were talking about The Dirt.
But you know what? I enjoyed The Dirt more than I did Bohemian Rhapsody because I liked the fact that and in fact they wanted this to be this way because
they wrote it. They wrote it.
Well, they didn't. Well, the book Nikki Sixx and I
Yeah.
think the manager wrote, or another guy wrote, but the movie was they could have got it done years ago, but I think the companies that wanted to do it, they want to do a really sanitized version. And Nikki Sixx was like, no, we don't want this to be sanitized. We want to show the
real.
bad.
Yeah.
And it I mean, definitely showed those guys they were kind of victims a little bit. I mean, even though they kind of really weren't. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say one way or another because Nikki Sixx had some fucked up shit happen in his childhood.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing I did like about the movie was the fact that it did show the kind of seedy hey, we're gonna show all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll because those guys were huge fucking partiers. And I love the scene they had with Ozzy.
Oh, dude, and they're drinking the pee.
And even Ozzy was like, yeah, that shit happened.
Yeah, we did that.
But then Tommy Lee was like, oh fuck. It's oh yeah, I shouldn't have fucked that girl.
I love how it was narrated by them individually.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to point this out because I don't think we've had a chance to debate this on the show. I did enjoy it more than Bohemian Rhapsody because The Dirt was not at all sanitized, and Bohemian Rhapsody was super sanitized to me, and it made Freddie Mercury out to be a victim.
I would have to agree.
And and I'm not discounting the movie. It was a decent movie, but I enjoyed The Dirt more.
I did too.
And I
enjoy Motley Crue more, to be perfectly honest. Perfectly honest.
I kind of like them both equally a little bit. I would say I'd like Queen a little bit more.
I'm a metal
I can
guy,
listen to
dude.
more Queen than I could Motley Crue.
I'm a metal guy.
But I can definitely enjoy Motley Crue, especially for hair bands. They're one of the hair bands I can definitely tolerate a lot more.
Yeah. Thinking about Poison.
Nikki Sixx wrote. He's the main songwriter.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
But I just enjoy that portrayal more, and I'm gonna say about Bohemian Rhapsody is like
Well, it
I
was
feel
cool.
I feel it was like super. I felt like that movie was just so overrated.
Yeah, well, it was good because here's the thing: like you
And
make it.
Freddie Mercury, I'm sure did a lot of fucked up shit too. But
Well, you make
that
it-
was actually that was one thing. I know I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But Sacha Baron Cohen was gonna play Freddie Mercury
Oh, dude,
originally.
that would have been awesome.
And he wanted to do a version where it wasn't sanitized and show like the real bad shit and just
He would've been
show like
good.
the real aspect of the band.
He would have been
And
good.
the band was like, no, we don't want to do that. Like you need to kind of deify Freddie Mercury.
You are making my point that I was just about to make.
Okay.
So because of Freddie Mercury died in such a tragic way, nobody wants to look at him in a dark light.
Yeah.
So but the thing is like that's what the movie The Dirt did was like, okay, like we were abandoned.
It didn't make them to be villains though.
Well, we were abandoned in the 80s and shit was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way that...
My biggest complaint with the movie though is I honestly it was just too short for me. I would have loved to seen that as a series.
For The Dirt?
I think it would have made a really interesting. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
dude,
it would
me
have made
too.
a really interesting series.
I
Like a
remember-
good 6-part miniseries. I think
Yeah.
it would have been fucking awesome.
I remember at the end of the movie, it was like, fuck, it's over?
Yeah, I know.
Fuck.
Me too.
That's
Because
a sign of
they just went through like huge swaths, you know.
Yeah, well, that's a sign of a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a good movie.
And because that's just how much I enjoyed it. I was like, wow, I wish that would have been longer.
Right. Well, I enjoyed every minute of
Yeah,
it.
I think they could have, and I think Netflix would have been like, yeah, do a miniseries. And
Yeah.
you know who directed it? Jeff Tremaine,
Really?
who is known for Jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently, well, he's a huge Motley Crue fan, and they went
That's
to him and
awesome.
they're like, I don't think we should have you, and he talked them into like letting him do it.
That's awesome.
And apparently, well, Steve O is a huge Motley Crue fan too.
Well,
He
that's-
met them when he was like 14.
He actually snuck into their show.
Well, no, what he did was
he called in.
no, what he did was he found out Motley Crue was going to be in town,
And he called the
he
hotel.
called every hotel in town.
That's right.
And he knew like who to ask for. And the guy he got one of the guys on the phone. He was like, "How the hell did you get this number?"
He talked about that on Joe
and
Rogan.
he's like, "Well," and he told him what happened. And he's like, "All right." And he's like, "That's pretty fucking awesome. Like, I'm giving you like 2 tickets tonight."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and backstage passes.
I've heard that
and
story.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that story. Like, shout out to Steve-O for doing
Yeah,
that, man.
it's pretty badass.
That's fucking badass.
So I guess we're talking about Motley Crue for a little while.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. So the things that I've been watching lately was last night I watched 2 movies that I really enjoyed. One was an old school movie that I've watched a bunch. One was a movie that I've never seen before.
okay.
The one I'm going to start off with is the one that I've never seen before. Was Black Snake Moan.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that.
I've never
I
seen
haven't
that
seen that in
movie.
a long time though.
It was a good movie, dude.
Yeah, I love Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
He
well,
was great.
I'll watch anything.
And
Samuel
Christina
L. Jackson.
Ricci is just fucking hot as shit. man.
Dude. Like a big part of that movie was just her being half naked.
Yeah,
I think that
the
was
whole movie.
but it had a kind of an interesting kind of story.
It was a cool movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It like at the very end of it, like it's kind of cool.
She was like sex starved, like something.
She was a harlot.
Oh, okay.
Is what she
She
would
was a
call
harlot.
it. Is what she would say.
Okay.
That's how
I don't
you-
remember much of that movie. It's been so many years. since I've
That's how.
seen
That's how you would. She would fuck anybody in front of her.
it.
But I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was done well.
Yeah.
But the other movie that I watched, it was one of my all-time favorite movies of ever. I even have the fucking novel, The Running Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, I watched that last
Yeah.
night. Who loves you, and who do you love?
Oh no, that was actually I think Stephen King wrote that under Richard Bachman, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I remember there's another one called like The Long Walk.
Yeah.
And I read that one. It was actually very similar. It was kind of a lot similar to the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
But except they
Well,
were
it's-
walking.
It's the same kind of idea. That's
Somewhat. With The Longest Walk, I think it was more like they volunteered for.
Okay.
Well, I think it was like if you made it all the way to the end, they might have been picked though too.
well. That's why I'm saying
It's been a while since I've read the book, but I really enjoyed the book, and I really do wish somebody would take that and make it into a movie.
Yeah.
And you ever hear like Stephen King has this thing where any filmmaker like coming up, like if they want to option like one of his books, you just have to give them $1.
I've never.
Yeah, if you're like an independent filmmaker who's just trying to like do something, like you just want to make a film with his work, you have to. He has like this this program where like you just give him $1 and you can do it.
Speaking of which, have you seen the fucking trailer for It Chapter 2?
No, I didn't know that was out.
Oh,
I must have-
Dude.
Oh, that just came out today.
Like 2 days ago.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think it did.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe I missed it.
100%.
All right.
It fucking looks.
I don't think
dope.
it came out, but I think I would have caught it.
The
but-
trailer. It's not out. The trailer is out.
Yeah, no, I don't think. No.
I promise
I
you.
kind of don't believe
Well,
you.
I'll show you after the
I'm
show.
really good about that.
I'll show you after the show tonight.
All right, maybe
I'll
it's
show you
just
after.
All right,
I'll show you after
I'm
the
not
show.
gonna bait you
the next
because
thing,
I'm probably right.
no, you're not. Why would I wouldn't make this up?
Okay.
Why would I make this up and say I'm going to show you as soon as we're done?
I know.
So, but the next thing I want to talk.
Well, you know what? You can show me when we go on a break.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the new Bill and Ted. I forget what the movie's going to be called.
Oh.
It's like the last something.
I forgot the name of it, what they're going to do it, but yeah, they saw the announcement video they put out last week.
They brought back Jeremy.
They're finally going to do it.
They brought.
They've been trying to do it for a few years.
They brought back Jeremy Irons' death, and not Jeremy Irons.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, it's the
They're
guy.
bringing Death back?
The guy that played Death, and they brought him back.
Huh.
And yeah, I've seen some like.
Well, there's not a trailer out for it.
No.
Well, they didn't start filming it yet, but I think they finally announced they finally got the funding to do it.
Yeah, that's.
It's supposed to be like a Christmas Carol, they say.
Cool.
Like in a way, because it's like they have to go back in time and figure out what they did wrong or something in their lives. I don't know.
It's called like the final.
I
think it was called the final note. I think it's something like that.
Well, the whole thing
something
was
like
they were. I guess the premise is supposed to be like they like became a big band after a bogus journey.
Yeah.
And then they were supposed to like their music was supposed to save the world, but they just never got there.
Yeah.
So it's like them going back into their past to find out why they never did that
God
or why they didn't.
rock and roll.
Yeah, it's a Kiss song, right?
I do know that. Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I know. I do love that song. That is probably honestly like I'm not a big fan of Kiss, but I will say that is a great fucking song.
It is. So the last thing that I want to hit on for what I've been watching, which is my inspiration for one of our episodes, I've been watching a documentary series called The Evolution of Metal.
Oh.
So that's
What's it on?
It's I've actually been watching it on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. They literally start off with like the 50s, 60s, 70s. And the really cool thing that they do for this show in particular, they have like a graphic that's like a bracket of like, okay, this metal fits over here.
Okay.
This metal fits over here. This metal influenced this. This metal influenced this. And like I cannot wait to do this episode of the.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Not
the first week?
Not next week or the week after.
Oh, we're okay. So
I can't see the calendar from here.
no, we're doing it in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm really because anybody that knows me personally is I'm a heavy metal fan. Like the heavier the better. So like
3 weeks.
Yeah, so my genre that I love, which would be called hardcore or extreme, like there's just a lot leading up to that. You know, like you got like Venom, you got Motley Crue, whatever.
Not to get into it, but who was a band in the 50s who was doing metal?
Well, that's the thing is it wasn't metal then. It's a progression of what was not acceptable.
Oh, okay.
You know, like it's like. You have like swing music, and then like Elvis comes out, and he's like swinging his hips back and forth, and like, oh, this is unacceptable. And the origin of the metal voice comes from Norwegian folklore of driving off evil spirits. That's where you get the metal growl.
Ooh.
Like that. Yeah, I'm gonna get all into that. But it's like it's gonna be a whole episode.
I'm sure everybody who came in here to watch, who listened to Sam Kinison is probably God.
Oh, I doubt that, man. Don't be so fucking negative.
I just like to joke about
Don't
it.
be so fucking negative. So
that's it?
Nope. So the famous birthdays today.
Oh.
Famous birthdays. Do you have any idea? You got a guess?
I've got no clue, man.
Nathan Fillion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion.
Firefly.
Yeah, he was born in 1972. And then this day in history, finally, this day in history, 1998, the FDA approves Viagra.
It was 1998.
Yeah, 1998.
I thought it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. It's only been a little over 20 years.
I was like 12 years old.
So it's only been a little over 20 years that we've got to have dick pills.
No, I was 14. I was 14 then.
It's not been that long since we got to have dick pills.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No, that's it, man.
All right, so we'll get in our next segment now. And it'll be a real quick one. This is gonna be a short episode for us, actually. But I just wanted
we're at 53 minutes, man.
That amazes me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because I wanted to throw something in for the rest of this episode, and I always like throwing the kind of religious stuff in there, even though I'm not religious whatsoever. But I'm gonna do the patron saint of comedians. So his name was Saint Lawrence.
That's so cool that you found that, dude.
Yeah. Well,
That is so cool.
at first I tried to find angels, and I just couldn't find anything. But then I looked up saints, and I found one. Which I do want to get into doing Saints eventually. We have so many different things I want to do. It's
dude.
crazy.
Well, I'm loving doing a regular show of comedians because we're such big fans of comedy.
Oh, definitely, dude, without a doubt. So so Saint Lawrence, he was the patron saint of comedians, or
That's
is
so
the patron
interesting.
saint of comedians. Also of archivists and librarians, chefs and cooks,
What?
and the poor.
What?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Because I'm all of those.
Oh, I know.
I'm actually all of what you just said.
You actually.
I
good point.
actually am
So,
of all of what you just said.
So yeah, I'll have to show you that picture of Saint Lawrence.
Yeah.
So, and you wanted to point out that you were wrong.
I was way wrong.
Yeah, about it.
So if you guys were listening a little bit prior, I was like, oh, dude, I'm right. There was the video that I saw for It Chapter 2 was fan made.
Yeah.
I got fooled. And
Always-
Nick was
Always trust me, dude.
Nick was unwavered.
Yeah.
Unwavered.
I usually get my shit right.
Especially when it comes to Stephen
Sorry
King.
to sound so vain, but
No,
yeah.
especially
Stephen
when
King.
it comes to Stephen King.
Yeah. So anyway, to get back to Saint Lawrence,
Continue.
he was born on December 31st, 225 AD in Spain, and actually, no, never. I'm gonna get to that later. And died on August 10th, 258 AD in Rome. He was 32.
I was about to ask.
And I was like, and I knew I got that right. So his feast day is August 10th. And like I said, like we were saying before,
Really?
Sam Kinison died on August 10th.
whoa.
Well, yeah. Well, like I was saying, that was just that was such a crazy coincidence.
We need
me.
to start having a barbecue on August 10th.
I
we
guess
need,
so.
we need to start doing that.
You're gonna remember this on August 10th?
I'm sure I will.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't.
Oh, fuck off. Go ahead.
So one thing I wanted to get into is we talk about feast days for certain saints, or I think we've talked about it before.
Mhm.
And I just kind of never really knew what it was. I was thinking like, oh, it's the day you eat.
Right.
But no, actually, the word feast in this context does not mean a large meal. Typically, I'm sorry. The word feast in this context does not mean a large meal, typically a celebratory one, but instead an annual religious celebration, a day dedicated to a particular saint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I found interesting because I always, you hear, his feast day. It's like,
Yeah.
are we supposed to eat? So the system arose from the early Christian custom of commemorating each martyr annually on the date of his or her death or birth into heaven. So a date, therefore,
I like that birth into heaven.
yeah,
I like
a
that.
date therefore referred to in Latin as the martyr's dies natalis, day of birth.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that in because I just thought it was interesting. And when because you do hear about saints, it's like their feast day, or even I think angels have the same thing.
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I don't know about that.
I can't remember. We've done a few episodes. On
Yeah,
those too.
well, it's been a topic that we continually
It's
cover.
weird we're mixing Sam Kinison with a saint.
Well, dude, come on.
Saint Kinison, man.
Yeah, Saint Kinison.
Yeah.
Shalancha.
Let's make that a thing, Saint Kinison.
Yeah.
We need to get a big Sam Kinison picture on the wall
Okay.
and just proclaim like, ow, ow,
Ow,
ow.
ow, ow.
No,
You just
silently though.
Gotta raise the pint.
Yeah.
Ow,
We're
ow,
raising a beer to Sam Kinison. So Lawrence encountered the future Pope Sixtus II, who was of Greek origin and was one of the most famous and highly esteemed teachers in Zaragoza, Spain. And what's cool about that is my dad was born in Zaragoza.
That's cool.
My dad was my dad's American, and both his parents were German, but they were stationed in Zaragoza, Spain when he was born in 1961. And actually, I passed through Zaragoza about 6 years ago.
You're
When
going
I
to
was-
talk about that on
Which I am going to
episode.
talk about that
Yes.
in 2 weeks.
Yes.
We're going to do an episode.
I'm looking
on-
forward to
yeah.
that.
And I'm not going to give it away yet.
Yeah,
I want to talk about it.
yeah.
So anyway, eventually both left Spain for Rome. And when Sixtus became Pope in 257, he ordained Lawrence as a deacon. And I know we had that argument about deacons, but I'm
Yes,
not going
we
to talk
do.
about it now. That's on our St. Patrick episode.
Yes, it is.
It's funny we keep talking about like, oh, in this episode.
Well,
this episode.
that's awesome that we have a library now.
We
that
do.
can
We have a
argue
library now.
about. Beer drink.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, get a little sipping. So, sorry, I gotta see where I was at. So, he ordained Lawrence as a deacon, and though Lawrence was still young, appointed him first among the 7 deacons who served in the patriarchal church. He is therefore called Archdeacon of Rome.
Okay.
Yeah. a position of great trust that included the care of the treasury and the riches of the church and the distribution of aims to the indigent.
Indigent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or alms. I think it's actually, it says alms.
Well, I've
never heard the word alms before.
Alms means like handing out stuff.
Okay.
Like alms for the poor, alms for the poor.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you were able to add that.
I do. Yeah, I do. I actually know that. It's
Nice.
It's like if you were, say you were to volunteer your time, your time would be alms.
Yeah, this was at a time, in the 250s.
Yeah. Well,
That were the church was not very very popular.
No.
They were still kind of a fringe,
Yeah.
like cultist.
Well, everything back at that time was pagan, and pagan is a very broad sweeping.
And even
term.
Rome was still pagan I think, at the time.
Pagan is a broad sweeping term that actually means it's actually falls under the what you call polytheism,
Okay.
to where there's more than one god.
Yeah, you think of a Greek or Roman gods.
Yeah, it's polytheism.
or Greek gods. Did Roman have a god?
Yep. Well, Roman was polytheistic. So like you got Zeus.
I'm thinking that those are Greek gods though.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is gods. Like at that point, like with polytheism, he's like you had a god for thunder, you had a god for the sun, you had a god for the.
And then when it came to Catholicism, they just made those into angels.
Exactly.
So anyway, to get back to it, Saint Cyprian, that's the way I have it spelled. Bishop of Carthage notes that Roman authorities had established a norm according to which all Christians who had been denounced must be executed and their goods confiscated by the imperial treasury. Yeah,
That's fucking intense.
and I don't know. I'm thinking that Saint Cyprian. I have it down as ST, so I'm guessing Saint.
Okay.
Bishop of Carthage, which might have meant something different at the time, bishop. But I'm not sure. So I know this is kind of bad. I'm just going with this.
Continue with your
Yeah,
reading.
I know. I'm stopping on it.
Yeah, you're
so
fine.
at the beginning of August 258, the Emperor Valerian issued an edict that all bishops, priests, and deacons should immediately be put to death.
Fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
And Pope Sixtus II was captured on August 2nd, 258, at the cemetery
The
of
fuck thing
Saint...
is we're talking about the saint of comedy.
Yeah.
Continue.
Oh, you're going to find out why.
Go ahead.
So Pope Sixtus II was captured on August 6th, 258, at the cemetery of Saint Calixtus, I want to say, while celebrating the liturgy and executed forthwith. Yeah.
Forthwith.
Yeah, I'm getting this from Wikipedia, by
It's
the
all
way.
good. It's all good. Keep it going,
Well, a
bro.
little bit of Wikipedia and then another actually from a religious website. I forgot the name of the exact website I have it on. In fact, I should just find that right now.
It's just cool that we put time to find these topics and bring these to people.
Yeah, I'm
Because,
sorry, I'm like kind of skipping.
it's all
and
good,
everything.
man. It's all good.
You know, it's funny because we talk about our second half of our show is usually when we're kind of fucked up. I'm not trying to be.
Well, you're not. You're just like you.
Oh, it's from Franciscan Media is the name of the website.
Franciscan Media.
Franciscan Media, let's see, I'm looking at what it says at the top.
I
A
wish
nonprofit ministry of the Franciscan Friars.
I wish you guys on the internet could see from my perspective. Nick's behind the mic with his headphones on and his face lit up by a laptop. I wish you guys could see that.
Yeah, thanks.
Continue.
So, a well-known legend has persisted from earliest times. As deacon in Rome, Lawrence was charged with the responsibility for the material goods of the church and the distribution of alms to the poor.
Alms to the
Yeah.
poor. I
so-
said that earlier.
Because I'm kind of mixing this with Wikipedia and the website I just mentioned. So when Lawrence knew he would be arrested like the Pope, he sought out the poor, widows, and orphans of Rome and gave them all the money he had on hand, selling even the sacred vessels of the altar to increase the sum.
Oh shit!
And actually, I do believe that the Pope was actually the first one to get executed.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he was Pope. Yeah, he wasn't Pope for very long. There's all kinds of crazy things with popes too. You actually had like anti-popes when there were two popes at the same time. And
it's kind of crazy.
People were able to buy the Pope position.
It was kind of crazy how much you and I get into religion because we're not.
We always preface that we're not religious at all.
Neither one of us. Well, I personally identify as a Buddhist, but whatever. But the thing is like neither one of us are religious.
I did a whole walk through Spain that was religious
Dude, I
walk.
cannot wait to hear for this.
Yeah, and I'm not religious.
Yeah. Continue.
For those that don't know what it is, it's
You're gonna talk about that
Yeah.
on an episode completely dedicated to that. I'm excited. But continue.
So when the prefect of Rome heard of this, he imagined that the Christians must have had considerable treasure. He sent for Lawrence and said, "You Christians say we are cruel to you, but that is not what I have in mind. I am told that your priests offer in gold, that the sacred blood is received in silver cups, that you have golden candlesticks at your evening services. Now your doctrine says you must render to Caesar what is his. Bring these treasures. The emperor needs them to maintain his forces. God does not cause money to be counted. He brought none of it into the world with him, only words. Give me the money, therefore, and be rich in words."
Fuck, dude.
He's trying to make an excuse for just like, hey, you guys have money? Like,
Yeah.
fucking give it to me.
Bring it over.
And he'd be like, oh, Caesar, like, oh, I'm bringing all this money. It's like, that guy's probably taking like a bunch of it himself.
That's where you get into monetizing a metal, which is gold.
Yeah.
That's monetizing something that people didn't do that before. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I totally get what you're saying.
So where I'm kind of coming from this is so this what's his name again?
What?
The saint
Lawrence.
Saint Lawrence.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing is because before, from what we were talking about in what you had online there, is that it's people didn't really monetize stuff before. That's kind of what I'm getting there. It's from what you were saying is give me your gold.
Well, the Romans did because they wanted to keep fighting their wars. The church was more at the time trying to help people.
Okay.
It was and they had things, but it was more kind of used for their services.
Right. Okay.
There's one thing I'll mention. Yeah, as part of St. James. There's a cathedral in it's St. Santiago de Compostela. Santiago de Compostela, the city. And there's a cathedral there.
Well,
and there's a giant statue.
Is that St. James Cathedral?
I don't know the exact name of the cathedral.
Sorry.
Even though I was there.
Sorry.
But it could be St. James Cathedral, actually. You're probably right.
I think it is.
Yeah. And actually, I want to shout out, we have a lot of listeners. We have a lot of listeners in Spain.
Sometimes I'm right.
And so I want to say, I absolutely love Spain.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm getting this wrong. I'm sorry. But that cathedral, they have this giant statue of St. James in gold.
Okay.
Totally in gold. It's been years since I've
That's
seen
amazing to think about that much gold.
But that's what the church did. They kind of had those statues and everything. Definitely there were those times with the church later on in the years with the Catholic Church that they were very opulent, and you actually would even see that into nowadays, except for really the Pope we currently have, where they were very opulent and be like, I'm going to show off this wealth we have with all this jewelry and these amazing fabrics, and I look at how much money I have type thing. And that's one thing I love about the new Pope, the Pope we have right now is he's very of the people.
Right.
I think he actually pissed off a lot of religious people too.
Oh, fuck off then.
But because he's a very progressive Pope. But anyway,
it's about time.
But yeah, I think in the church at the time, because they were still trying to get established, what they did have, they would use probably for their services or maybe to decorate their churches. And it was probably a way, honestly, to gain more followers too. It's look what they have. But they weren't rich. And at the time, the priests and the Pope I'm sure they were not rich people by any means. And they didn't have much influence over other people.
Well, the Pope probably...
I'm just doing hearsay. I'm just trying to... I'm guessing at this time.
We weren't there. There.
Yeah. But that's... you asked me a question. I'm trying to answer it.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
In a logical way.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lawrence replied, to get back into everything. So Lawrence replied that the church was indeed rich. I will show you a valuable part, but give me time to set everything in order and make an inventory. After 3 days, he gathered a great number of blind, lame, maimed, leprous, orphaned, and widowed persons and put them in rows. When the prefect arrived, Lawrence simply said, "These are the treasure of the church."
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
When would you ever hear that in a church now?
Dude,
in any church. This is the treasure we have this is the treasure of the church. What church would you see that in at all?
Dude, when you said that, I'm sure you could see it from across the table. Like I had
Yeah.
a smile. I was like, whoa. You know, like
That was a time when I could actually like completely respect the church,
right. Like that.
because they actually did give a shit about the people.
Well, that was
But they were still very much ingrained with the teachings of Jesus,
like what you were.
and they did believe in what he had to preach. And nowadays, it's just used as such a fucking excuse.
Yeah, dude, and like what you were just saying was what it is the treasure is the people. Mm-hmm. Like no matter how sick they are.
Yeah.
Like,
you see televangelists now that like fucking they have a 2G, they need a 5G like fucking
right
plane.
right
Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys, because that's not what it's all about. And like one of the things that
those
said,
guys are just predators, man.
predators.
I really have no sympathy for those guys whatsoever.
No. Well, like
I hope they end up in hell and just like which I'm gonna get to like the way that this guy died, or like I hope that like they end up in that same situation for the next fucking million years.
Well, one of the things you said that I really want to touch on what you just said was leprosis.
Yeah.
People with leprosy.
Yeah.
Like they were not judging these people.
No.
They were like this is our treasure.
Yeah.
Like these people that follow us, doesn't matter how sick you are.
And they had things that that at the time it would be considered like they have stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They have like riches and like gold or silver or whatever, but they used it for, I think, means that like they used it for good things. And he was like, oh well, I'm gonna die and all these other people are gonna die. Like I might as well try to enrich the lives of these other people.
Yeah.
And you see people who are rich, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna take this shit to the grave.
Yeah.
Or like I don't want this. I don't want. Well, they were like, I don't want this money to end up in the hands of the Roman Emperor.
Well, it's just
or
like
the empire, because they're just going to use it to wage war. That's not what we believe in.
Well, it's just like pharaohs being buried with their servants.
Yeah,
it's basically the same concept.
It's crazy how we're getting into this right now. It's fucking nuts, dude.
Sorry.
I did not think this would go this way.
Sorry.
But it's kind of it's so strange. We're going from talking about Sam Kinison to going into
pharaohs.
This feels like two different episodes, man. This is fucking nuts.
Well, this is how we roll.
This is how we roll. So to just finish off the whole thing with St. Lawrence. So the prefect was so angry he told Lawrence that he would indeed have his wish to die,
Oh my god.
but it would be by inches. He would have a great gridiron prepared with coals beneath it and had Lawrence's body placed on it. And for those who know what a gridiron is, it pretty much like think of like a you think when you hear gridiron, you think of a football field for Americans, and it's pretty much just like kind of a grid like pattern like laid out like think of it like a rectangle and then just put a bunch of lines through it like God, how would you describe this? Like a wire rack, pretty much.
It's like a grill.
Yeah, it's pretty much a grill.
Oh yeah.
Except it's like crisscrossed. And it's got squares.
Yeah, well, and then like you mentioned with like the football thing, a gridiron. I don't know how that actually got brought over.
When you see a picture of Lawrence, he's usually depicted with a gridiron. Because that's just why that's the way he died.
Well, and I'm not a football guy, but maybe this is my speculation. Maybe it got brought over into football because a gridiron is something that's hard to get across. Maybe it's hard. It's something. Maybe it's hard. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I'm sure at the time when it was created, too, football was had a lot of very religious people.
Well,
church going guys.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible.
Well, who knows?
That's interesting.
Who knows?
So so after the martyr had suffered the pain for a long time, the legend concludes he made his famous cheerful remark. So I'm gonna. There are two different ones. I found one on Wikipedia and one on the other site. Let's see, I want to make sure I tell the other site real quick. So the Franciscan Media. So the first one from Franciscan Media is what he said was, "It is well done. Turn me over."
It's comedy.
And from Wikipedia, and what's most famously quoted as he says, or, "I'm well done on this side. Turn me over." Yeah. Didn't have as much impact as I hoped to.
Well, it's comedy, though, dude.
Yeah.
That's comedy.
It's like, I'm well done on this side. Turn me over.
Yeah,
you got to think, this guy was getting fucking cooked alive.
Well, it seems like that's a throwback to, like, stick a fork in me, I'm done.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly where it was taken from.
Yeah.
So, this thing, think of that. Like, But that's why he's pretty much known as the patron saint of comedy. There's another guy who's also known as being like a saint of comedians, but I didn't want to use him because it's more considered legend.
Okay.
I should just try to find him real quick. But yeah, like I said, I didn't want to use him because of that very reason. I was like, I read a little bit and it was like, this guy's like, it's a legend, and I wanted to kind of deal with a guy who was more real,
Right.
Because I like to find the real like kind of guy.
Well, I honestly think it kind of like stick a fork in me, I'm done. I honestly think that's kind of a throwback to that actual thing you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Think about that. You know, like.
His name was Genesius.
Genesis. How's it spelled?
Genesius.
Okay.
Yeah. Considered a patron saint of actors, lawyers, baristas, clowns, comedians, converts, dancers, people with epilepsy, musicians, printers, stenographers, and victims of torture.
That's fucking.
And his feast day is August 25th.
That's pretty broad. That's
Yeah.
pretty fucking broad.
Yeah, but I like I said, I wanted to do St. Lawrence instead.
Well, I'm glad you did though.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think that I think we did a good.
I think we need to get a portrait of St. Lawrence in the studio now.
Right. So yeah, we have Saint Gabriel in the studio.
Yeah, like I'm gonna find.
Thanks to Megan for bringing that in.
Oh yeah. Well, Gabriel is the patron saint of
Broadcasting.
Broadcasters. Yeah.
And I actually looked into what that specifically means.
Mm-hmm.
It actually means getting your voice across the country. It's not actually
Really?
It's not actually like
We do it all across the world.
Yeah, it's
Like I said again, big ups to people in Spain who listen to us.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
I'm really looking forward.
I love your country, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the episode that you're going to put together for that.
St. Lawrence, by the way.
Dope.
Sorry, I had to show a picture of St. Lawrence.
Dope.
You're interested to look him up.
Yeah.
Like I said, he is a lot of times depicted with with the gridiron.
That and it looked like a standing cross is what they call it. Standing cross.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of funny how like we talk about all the time we're not religious, but we come up with so much shit from our material.
Yeah, that one with
Oh, that's a good picture.
Yeah, I know it.
yeah. Sorry.
Well, I want to get a book on saints.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
And saints, and because we did angels and demons.
Yeah.
We did a lot for that. We got that for reference.
We have a big passion for continuing these comedian episodes.
Oh, this is gonna be a staple from now on.
Yeah. Next month, we're gonna put together.
I'm doing Steve Martin.
And
I'm gonna because I got to read the book and write a lot down for that.
After that, for me, I'm gonna do Robin Williams, and we're gonna go from there. I think that's gonna be like
No, I think I'm gonna do Chevy Chase after that.
Nice.
And then probably you do Rodney Dangerfield. We got the next 4 months already.
But
we got the next 4 months of shows.
We would
love to do this honestly on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
But it's too much.
And more than once we've tried to come up with okay, this is gonna be like a monthly thing that we do, like the Angels and Demons and a couple other things but the one that I think is gonna stick is the comedians.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
no, I want this to
because this is something that we love.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode tonight.
Yeah, you want to tell me what we're doing next week?
What are we doing next week?
Oh, we're doing Shazam and Captain Marvel next week.
Yeah.
Wow, we're going.
Yeah.
We're going so. That's one thing I love about this show is we go so broad.
Yeah.
We don't contain ourselves.
Next week we're going to do Shazam and Captain Marvel, and the reason I decided to put those two characters together is because in their creation there was a lawyer dispute over the name Captain Marvel.
True.
Because Captain Shazam was originally called Captain Marvel. So that's going to be fun for me to put together.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm going to do the history of metal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good times.
Yeah.
It's
We
gonna
got a
be
lot
good
going
times.
on.
Yeah, we got a lot. This next week this next month, we've tried to make it a little bit more streamlined simply because Nick and I,
We need a little bit of a break.
well, our work has been taxing.
Yes.
I'll just put it that way.
Work in school.
Yeah. So we're trying to do stuff. We're trying to do topics that are going to be the best that we can put out for you guys with the limited time that we have. And that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So
So you got anything else you want to add to that?
No,
tonight?
brother.
We did a lot.
Yeah, do it.
Still can't believe we did Sam Kinison into a fucking saint.
Yes, that's right. And that again, Nick, thank you for always being here in the studio with us.
Yeah.
So let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Nerdy Bones. And
we're out.